Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome tonight's host, Cupertino Mayor Darcy Paul.
Welcome everyone to the 2018 CREST Awards. Thank you for all making it out here this evening. We're very pleased to introduce a new format for our CREST Awards this year. Our city is about 63 years old, perhaps give or take a few months, and the CREST Awards have been awarded for roughly half of that time, for at least 3 decades now. And it's something that we do on an annual basis in order to recognize our volunteers. CREST stands for Cupertino Recognizes Extra Steps Taken, and indeed you'll see that our recipients this evening have taken a lot of extra steps on behalf of the community, but the fact of the matter is our volunteers have been taking those many extra steps over the decades in Cupertino, and that of course is what makes us such a singular community, and one that is really looked upon with great interest throughout the region and internationally. So we have a new format this year, thanks to our Public Information Officer, Brian Babcock, who had a vision of having something, big round of applause for Brian. Thanks very much. But who had a vision of bringing something more formal and Academy Awards-like to Cupertino, and I think it's very much succeeded. This is a great kickoff for the new format. So with respect to our general awarding, we'll be divvying up the presenting of the awards through our City Council. I'll be presenting a couple of them first, and our very first one is going out to our Organization of the Year, and that Organization of the Year is inAtalent. We have a video for you to see. Yeah, very good. Yeah, congratulations. And here's the video.
My name is Rhoda. I'm 17 years old, and I've lived in Cupertino my whole life. inAtalent actually began out of a history of volunteering. I was 14 when I started volunteering at a senior center in Palo Alto, and initially I had just been there to clean dishes and spend time with the seniors, and I had a lot more free time. It was the beginning of high school, and so I was dancing a lot. So I would always talk about my adventures at dance class, and one of the frequent questions was, when can we see you? When can we see you? Me and my mom made that happen. We asked the senior center if it would be okay if I came and performed one time, and thankfully they allowed me to, and the reaction was really overwhelmingly positive. Again, I was 14, 15. I didn't know what a 501c3 was, so my mom was really helpful. She kind of got the ball rolling with the paperwork and gave me the reins for the creative aspect. She did the logistical aspect, and from there it was just history. inAtalent was born. I reached out to one of my friends, and we both led it together. My mom knew someone. She had a little son, maybe 4 or 5 years old, and it was just basically the 3 of us. Now, 2 years later, we've got around 40 to 50 independent volunteers, and we've partnered with a bunch of schools, dance schools, singing schools, who have bought into our ideology and our philosophy. Basically, our nonprofit organization goes out to senior centers and puts on a 45-minute to an hour and a half performance anywhere once a month, and we just put on that kind of entertainment for them to break free of the routine, mundane lifestyle. I've been doing Indian classical dance since I was 2.5 to 3 years old, and many of them, being however old they are, have never seen anything like that in their life. So it seems like a perfect handshake where it's a symbiotic relationship where we're both kind of benefiting each other in different ways. It leaves good feelings in everyone's hearts.
And at this point, I'd like a representative of inAtalent to come up. Welcome, Rhoda. Congratulations. And Ina is still in high school, if you'll believe that, and has put together this organization that's just quite phenomenal and reaches out to our seniors, those that have various types of needs. Seniors, of course, like to have interaction with other people, and need to be able to know that people care. And it's just a phenomenal job that the organization has done to coordinate a lot of the various talents around the area into a group known as inAtalent. And so it's also a bit of a play on words. It's what's inAtalent, right? And so there's quite a bit in this organization, and I'm very pleased to present this organizational award to inAtalent. And Ina, if you'd like to say a few words about the Oregon Award.
Thank you so much to not only our mayor, but also the city of Cupertino for allowing us to be here and present at this award ceremony. And I mentioned it a little bit in our video, but really 2 years ago, we were just 3 volunteers in a dream. And now, 2 years later, we've come so far. And that's with not only just the aspirations of teenagers, but just the nonstop support of dance schools and parents and just the city of Cupertino backing us. And come to think of it, we've come so far in just 2 years. It's crazy, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the years to come. Maybe we can take this national, maybe we can make it global. So again, thank you so much to our mayor and to everyone here for recognizing the efforts that inAtalent has done.
All right, that was a great way to kick it off. Our second award goes to the Sustainability Champion of the Year. And our champion of the year for sustainability is Kristin Jensen Sullivan. We have a video that describes Kristin's work as well.
I'm so passionate about the environment because really natural ecosystems are what keep us all alive on this planet. Really, if it weren't for the sun and all the different plants and then the animals, we wouldn't have fresh air, fresh water, fertile soil, and the beauty of biodiversity. So I come at it really from sort of a moral perspective of really wanting to keep what we have on this planet here for a long time. I was hired on at De Anza College in 1996, first initially teaching biology, and then in 1997 I joined the Environmental Studies program, which was started by Julie Phillips, a really wonderful friend and colleague of mine. Since I was at De Anza for 21 years, I had a lot of students. We built up the program in such a way that we had over 7 classes that were general ed classes. So we'd have a lot of students coming into our class just by taking general ed. They had never known about environmental studies or environmental sciences before. And so students got very interested in the program, and many of the students actually ended up getting their degrees in environmental studies. Be the change you want to see in the world. Mahatma Gandhi is one of my quotes that I always had on my syllabi for my students, because I think it's just really important to combine that social justice and environmental justice and protection perspective. So I did retire after 31 years of teaching as of last June. I'm 59 now, looking towards when I'm going to be 100. So the next 40 years of what my husband and I are going to do together, and we know it's going to be around environmental justice, environmental protection, social justice, and human rights. I'm fired up and wanting to make a better world, basically.
And that's just so wonderful. We're, as a community and certainly as a council, very much dedicated unanimously to sustainability issues and making sure that we have a clean environment and sustainable mechanisms, and that we do as much as possible to make sure that we leave the earth in a better place for the people that come after us. And so it's so refreshing to see someone who has dedicated her life to these causes of the environment, as well as the nuts and bolts of being able to teach about the environment. Kristin received a minor in biology. She is a product of our local educational system and went through De Anza College as well as West Valley and the local educational system. And it was really refreshing to see that when she was attending San Jose State, that's when she had a bit of a change of heart with regard to wanting to pursue a career in environmentalism. And so I'd like to invite a couple of her representatives here tonight who would like to say a couple of words about Kristin's involvement in the community over the years, as well as to receive the award itself. Welcome.
Thank you, Cupertino, City of Cupertino, Mayor and the council members and the Sustainability Department for giving this very, very well-deserved honor to Kristin. It's too bad Kristin is not here because her energy level would have just raised the roof in this room. For those of us who know her, she's extremely energetic. So a couple of other things about Kristin. I'm very honored. My name is Neela, and this is PJ. We were both Kristin students, and I also turned out to be her colleague, and she was a great mentor to me while she was at De Anza. So a couple of things about Kristin is her reach is really global. Not only did she go through De Anza teaching a lot of people about sustainability and how to be good stewards of the environment, she has attended many COP meeting. This is a conference of parties, which is the IPCC holds every year. She went to the COP in Paris to help support the global warming initiatives. She has been to the Standing Rock. She and her husband Mark went to Standing Rock to support the fight against the Dakota pipeline, and also to protect the waters. She has led many students through backpacking trips to help nurture in them a love for nature. And any other, there are a lot more accomplishments of Kristin, and it's really, truly our honor to accept this on our behalf, and I hope one day you will get to see Kristin herself. Thank you so much.
And I should add, not that it really bears requiring more evidence, but Kristin is out on a hiking and backpacking trip as we speak, which is why she wasn't able to make the award tonight. So our third award is going to be presented by our immediately past mayor, Savita Vaidyanathan. It is for the Rising Star of the Year. Welcome, Councilmember Vaidyanathan. We were both on the council since 2014, having been in that class. No longer the freshman anymore, but without further ado, I give you Councilmember Vaidyanathan.
Thank you, Mayor Paul. It is my honor and privilege to announce the Rising Star Award. Sarang Deshpande is sitting right here, a young boy. He is one of the creators of Building Leaders. He and his friend Rohan Goyal came up with the idea, and the two co-founded this group. And what does Budding Leaders do? These two kids give free classes to kids to learn leadership skills through games, workshops, and discussions. Further, last year when I was mayor, Sarang contacted me and said he'd like to volunteer. Many kids asked if they could shadow me. And I said, shadowing is really difficult because we really don't know what our day looks like. We are here one moment, we disappear, we go elsewhere, we drive to other cities, and it's not really easy. He said, no, give me 1 day's work and I'll do everything. I said, will you do logistics? It's boring. He said, yes. He actually helped me organize my entire schedule for July 4th annual Independence Day celebration in the city of Cupertino last year. It was a whole day's work, and he had to prepare prior to that. and he really helped me. So thank you, Sarang, for that. And he also later volunteered with our Recreation and Community Services Department on a teen center outreach plan. During that time, he worked with staff to get familiar with the facility's amenities and current programming. At the end of his internship, Sarang presented staff with a completed outreach plan, which included marketing, programming ideas, and a budget, that's a lot, to accompany his proposals. And I think the staff is working on it to see how they can implement his ideas. So it is with great pleasure I give you Sarang Deshpande.
My name is Sarang Deshpande. I'm 16 years old. I go to Monte Vista High School, and I've been a Cupertino resident for 14 years. When I was in 5th or 6th grade, I was part of the City of Cupertino's Math Olympiad program. This was an experience that kind of opened my eyes to the importance of soft skills, because I saw for the first time that STEM, like math skills, like science skills, were not the only thing that was going to help me be successful in my life. Because of that, I realized, that I had to continue to develop my own leadership skills in order for myself to be successful. So I decided to become a basketball coach for YMCA. And additionally, I joined my school's DECA club, which is a business-oriented club that enabled me to interact with various people and work on my communication and leadership skills in a business environment. I was a member of the Cupertino Toyokawa Sister Cities organization. When I was actually in Japan, I saw that students are taught from a young age to develop skills of teamwork and communication and how to make group decisions. And I thought that I should learn what I've seen in Japan and bring it back to America and implement it in a type of way that will benefit the youth community here. As a young basketball player in the Bay Area, I'm a huge fan of Steph Curry because he's just determined, he's gritty, he perseveres. Anytime that something doesn't really go well for me, I keep thinking about how in the beginning he wasn't thought of to be that good, and he continued to put in the hard work, and the results showed eventually. So that reminds me that even if things don't go well in the beginning, if I continue to keep putting in work, I'll be successful at the end. So Budding Leaders is a nonprofit organization that hosts leadership workshops in the community at local libraries and community centers. We've been hosting various leadership workshops at local libraries and community centers to build a solid foundation of those leadership skills for the young generation. Our target audience is basically upper elementary to middle school students. So we like to teach really solid fundamental leadership and soft skills such as trust, teamwork, and communication. Regardless of what career I go into as an adult, I want to continue to give back to my community in whatever way possible.
Congratulations, Sarang. And would you like to say a few words? Not many can say that grandparents and parents are present at the same time. Come on up.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Vaidyanathan, Mayor Paul, for the kind words. I'm truly humbled and honored by this award. Every day I find myself fortunate to grow up in this wonderful community of Cupertino. It's a safe and joyful community. All the resources I have available, from the local parks to the city-led program to the wonderful schools led by dedicated teachers and staff members, have really helped me grow as a person throughout my life. Additionally, what I remember most through my activities is the people that I've worked with, from Mayor Vaidyanathan to the volunteers to city staff members. What I remember most is that everyone is so kind and generous and open-minded, which I think represents the spirit of Cupertino so well. I'd like to give a special thanks to Councilmember Vaidyanathan, Ms. Jacqueline Guzman, and Mr. Daniel Mestizo as well for welcoming me with open arms for and allowing me to have opportunities on multiple volunteering projects. I've really learned a lot from these experiences, and I can truly say that it was a pleasure to work with the three of you, and I continue to be inspired by your work in the community. I'd also like to thank the Cupertino Toyokawa Sister Cities organization led by Ms. Alysa Sakkas, who's also an award recipient here tonight. I think my passion to give back to the community really started when I was a member of this organization, and I continue to admire their work in the community, and I absolutely loved my time as a student ambassador for a year. I'd also like to give a shout out to my partner and friend and co-founder of Budding Leaders, Rohan Goyal. Unfortunately, he could not be here tonight, but our original idea has now blossomed into a nonprofit that has helped over 100 kids in South Bay have the ability to learn basic foundational leadership skills through fun activities. Overall, I'm greatly appreciative of all the people, including teachers, city staff members, volunteers, and of course my wonderful family, for supporting me and for serving as great role models and people for me to look up to. And I thank you all for helping me grow. I'm truly grateful for the opportunities that the city has provided me. And regardless of what my career leads me to, you all have inspired me to continue to give back to my community. And for that, I thank you all.
So as you can see, we have a lot of good hope for our future in Cupertino. We also have a lot of good infrastructure in our community, and making sure that we have not just good teachers, but good public safety officers. And at this point, we're awarding the Public Safety Champion of the Year. And I would like to roll out the video of Deputy Jonathan Lau. Thank you.
I first became interested in becoming a first responder when I took this EMT class at the end of my high school. It got me into seeing what a first responder does, and that became very interesting to me. My name's Deputy Jonathan Lau. I've been with the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office for about 3 years now. I feel like I always am worried about other people. It started with people in my family. Now that I'm in the Cupertino community, I just want to keep making it a safe place to live, and I come to work now every day and I'm excited to be here. You know, I get home now, I'm like, guess what happened today at work? You know, I was able to catch this, thief or this burglar, so it's definitely a lot more rewarding and exciting nowadays. The thing with policing in Cupertino, it's not just taking bad guys to jail. I hope the community will remember me as, that officer who stops and talks to them, waves at them. Hopefully they can come and talk to me about their problems, and I can help them find a way to solve it, even if it's not necessarily a crime. So it's been a great learning experience so far, and I'm still learning now, and I will continue to do so for the next few years, hopefully for the rest of my career.
Yeah, wonderful. And many congratulations to Deputy Jonathan Lau. Deputy Lau, why don't you come on up? And we're also very privileged tonight to have our sheriff of the county here, Sheriff Lori Smith, and as well as our captain for the West Valley substation, Ricardo Urena. A few words about Deputy Lau. And Sheriff and Captain, if you'd like to join the deputy up here and recognize the award, happy to have you. So a few additional words about Deputy Lau. He was originally working in Bank of America, was that correct? Bank of America. And so he decided to make a transition into law enforcement. Deputy Lau is a certified Mandarin speaker, and so as you know, that's a very important communication and outreach ability to have in our law enforcement in our community. And one of the things that's very interesting about the deputy is that in addition to what you saw in the video, one of the things that was quite fascinating to him when he first started was the overwhelming amount of paperwork that's involved in law enforcement as well. And so without further ado, it is my privilege and honor to present to you the Public Safety Champion of the Year. Yeah, care to say a few words?
Yes. First of all, I'm not sure if you guys know, but there's dozens of other deputies out there that are keeping us all safe right now, and they're all doing an excellent work. So I'm thankful and honored that the council members and the mayor selected me for this award. All these other deputies are equally as deserving of this award. I'd also like to thank the administration, captain, and the sheriff for allowing me to come out to the west side and to learn from all these excellent deputies out here. It's my first year, last year was my first year out, and I've learned so much from everyone out here, and I'm just excited to keep learning the intricacies of all the things that are in law enforcement. And last but not least, as you guys heard with all that paperwork, there has to be a very, very patient and understanding wife behind all that, especially with all the late nights that come from that paperwork. So I'd like to thank my wife, Jessica, for being so patient and understanding.
And you've been married how long?
And we just got married this month. This month. We've been married for 3 weeks. Yes. Yeah. Thank you all.
Deputy, don't forget your phone. All right. Excellent. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the council member, our vice mayor, who will be introducing our individual of the year. Vice Mayor Rod Sinks was elected in 2011 and has served on council for 7 years now. Vice Mayor Sinks.
Hey, is everybody having fun? Isn't this set spectacular? Well, let's roll them on the individual of the year right now.
I'm Larry Dean. I'm a 37-year resident of Cupertino, been in the area for 47 years. I'm a serial entrepreneur and I've built a couple of companies over the years, and every organization is basically about a product, a need, having resources, but the main part is having people and the right people to make it all happen. With Walk by Cupertino, while I've been the driving force behind it, we've got a great group of people that do what they can to fulfill our mission. We started with 40 members, and now 4 years later we have well over 1,000 members, so it's just all really good stuff. I think the biggest impact of the effects of our work is community awareness. Our constituents, our over 1,000 members, are very aware of what's going on, and they are very actively telling the council and the city leaders what they want. To that end, with Walk by Cupertino and with the Rotary Club funding, we've put in bike repair stations at all 5 of the high schools, and now we're putting in pumping stations at the middle schools. 2 reasons why people don't bicycle is they don't feel it's safe or their tires are flat. So we hope to remedy that. But in the long run, we want to have an environment where people feel that it's easier just to pedal their bike down to the Safeway or down to the Whole Foods or to go grab a bite to eat, rather than get in their car and create traffic. Well, My hope for the future for Cupertino is that we have a great environment for safe and easy walking and mobility for our citizens. The city has been engineered and laid out in the 50s when people didn't think about that. So undoing or re-engineering or making it safe and easy to quickly walk and bike from one point to another is going to take time, but we're on our way. We're on our way.
We are. Larry, come on up, please. Now, Larry Dean, I've known you for quite some time, but in 2014, you met with several leaders, city leaders, including me, and asked what we could do together to improve biking in our community. And several of us observed that, unlike other cities, we really had no effective organization of bike advocates here. And you promptly organized Walk Bike Cupertino. Now, a little later that year, tragically, Ethan Wong died, a student on his way to high school. That ignited community support for change, to make improvements. But the truth is, all that energy from that tragic incident could well have dissipated. You helped recruit activist bike ped commissioners in early 2015, and they drove, along with their colleagues, creation of our landmark bike plan that was adopted by council in the middle of 2016. You pushed us to rebuild robust Safe Routes to School program, to build that program up and hire a full-time staff member. And thanks to your organizational skills, Walk Bike Cupertino is now, as we heard in the video, over 1,000 members, 1,100 members. And we find you at our community meetings helping educate residents. We find you all over the place installing bike facilities. We find you supporting the council to move us forward on our bike plan implementation. So what I want everybody in this room to know is that when we look back a few years from now, having built off-road bikeways, having built bikeways on roads that are protected from cars, having built boulevards and loops all over the city, excuse me, more sidewalks, we have a happier, healthier group of residents who are walking and biking more and driving less, and fewer parents queuing up twice a day to drop off and pick up their kids at school. We will surely have you to thank, Larry Dean. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
Your turn at the mic.
Oh, dear. Thank you, Councilman Sinks. I just want to say I've been so impressed with the previous awardees tonight. We've got a great talent and gene pool in this town, and I'm really, really impressed. I'm also impressed with the team that joined me over the years, our advisory board members, a number of whom are here today. And you heard me say earlier, it's always in the people. And we've heard that spoken earlier tonight. It's always in the people getting things done. But it's just not only the walk bike. Our partners also include the city staff. And under the leadership of David Brandt, who helped enable this from a city side, and then from our council people, our elected folks like Rod Sinks and Mayor Savita and the rest of the team, we are moving the whole process along in a very constructive way. There's little bumps in the road from time to time because not everybody appreciates what it takes to change where we were to where we want to go. But at the end of the day, when you ride a bicycle at 10 miles an hour, you feel the wind in your face, you can have a conversation with your friend, you can take a break after 45 minutes and have a cup of coffee, and then go back home and you feel really good. And I think from our team and from the city, this is a real gift to our community. And I look forward to having it come to fruition over the next several years.
Congratulations again. Thank you, Vice Mayor Sinks, and congratulations to Larry Dean for the Individual of the Year in Cupertino. I have a real privilege now to introduce our senior standing council member, Barry Chang, who was elected in 2009, and so he is serving his 9th year on council. He will be introducing our Innovator of the Year. Welcome, Councilmember Chang.
Good evening. This year's format is different. I mean, this is my 9th year now, and this is much more like a ceremonial setup, right? Before was a little bit too planned, but I want to thank Bob for doing this for us. Oh, Brian Bobcat for doing this for us. So I'm giving the award for Bob Zeidman, and Bob, you want to come up? Coming up? Yeah, prepare the studio, and then you can come up too. Yeah.
Software forensics is the analysis of software source code, which is the human readable code that programmers write to make programs. Well, what my algorithms do is they divide the code up into pieces. So if you think of comparing a novel, for example, you can compare all the words of 2 different novels and see if any of the words match. What I found in software, which is very well defined, you divide it up into its elements and compare each set of elements separately, and then combine that whole comparison, and where you find even a little bit of similarity, you should look at it. One day, somebody called me up from a major law firm and said that there's a case they want me to work on, and they were going to give me every disk from every computer in the entire company, and I was going to compare it against some code that these students at Harvard had created to find out if any of the code at Harvard had been used by this company. And I remember hanging up the phone and telling my wife, wow, we just got the biggest case of my career, and this is going to pay a lot of money, and it's going to take a lot of my time, but the thing I'm worried about is I've never heard of this company. I don't know if they can pay. The company's called the Facebook. So the first major case that I worked on was the famous one, Connect U v. Facebook, that was basically made into the film The Social Network. The Silicon Valley napkin got its start in the early 80s. Compaq actually got started on the back of a napkin at a bar. And I thought, what if I made it easier for people? So I did that, and I had to order 100,000 napkins. I started marketing this, and it got a lot of publicity, but not many sales. And so at some point, I just closed it down. And then years later, I became involved with the Computer History Museum. And one day I was on the site, and they had my napkin there, listed on the site. And what was funny, the history they had was wrong. And so I called them up because I knew the people there, and I said, this is really great, but this is my napkin, and I can give you the real story about it. So they changed the information on the napkin, put my name on it. They put it on the permanent exhibit, and when I go to the museum, I'm always introduced as the guy who invented the Silicon Valley napkin, and then suddenly everybody wants to talk to me. So I've realized that it may be the one thing that I'm actually going to be remembered for eternity. I'm hoping I'm remembered for software forensics, but you never know.
Bob coming up. So Bob is 25 years resident of Cupertino.
Well, I've been in Cupertino for 25 years.
Oh, 25 years, okay. And then you invented the software coding?
So the software forensics.
Forensics.
The field of software forensics.
Right. And then you involved with quite a few landmark lawsuit cases. So I will read it out because I cannot make it wrong. Okay. Connect View You against Facebook. That was the one in the video.
That was the one in the movie.
Okay, all right. And he was involved in the Oracle America against Google. So what do you want to tell us a little bit more about that one?
Sure, well, that's the
coming out. Yeah, okay, use the microphone.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are always interested in this, and it's fascinating because the movie, The Social Network. How many people have seen The Social Network? If you haven't, it's a great movie, and Aaron Sorkin is one of the best writers alive, the screenwriter and director. And people, came up to me for years and they say, "Oh, you do software forensics, have you? You know?" And I heard that Zuckerberg copied this code, and I wasn't allowed to say anything for years. The movie came out, and I wasn't allowed to talk about it because the case kept going on and on. But finally, the case came to an end because there were appeals and all kinds of continuations, and so I could start telling people. And then with Google, Oracle v. Google, my team and I, we worked for Oracle, and there's a lot of interesting passion about that, and I'd be glad to talk to people about the case afterwards if you want to talk to me.
Sure, all right. There's also another case about the CSS against Christopher Harrington, Jin Yoho, and Compile Technologies. You want to just briefly talk about that one?
Yeah, you know, it's been an exciting career that I didn't plan, and maybe for some of the younger people in here, you know, the lesson that I learned over my long career now is that it never went the way I planned. Everything I planned didn't work, and the things that I've been successful at I never planned. So that case was actually where I helped the lawyers representing a young man, well, fairly young, who had started his own company, was being sued for copying code, and he didn't copy any code. But this was a case in West Virginia where they're not as familiar with software as they are here. And so I actually helped set a precedent for what it means to have copied code. And I'm happy to say that this young man who was struggling to pay his legal bills, the case was settled because he was a defendant. The plaintiff didn't have a case. There was no code copying going on. And his company has now grown since then.
Okay, thank you. My major was civil engineering. I have a master's degree in civil engineering, so I'm not expert on the high-tech industry. But I heard that any high-tech company in California will get sued from the attorney in Texas because they know every time they sue, they will ask for settlement, they will get a lot of money. Just so the Texan is just, attorney is just getting money from the Silicon Valley here. So that's why we need your expertise on that area. Anybody remember his tie in the video? Anybody? Raise your hand. Batman, right? So where's your tie?
It's in the car. I thought this was like a no-tie event.
Oh, all right. All right. Then now let me give you the CREST Award. Okay. So that was question and answer. You can't say a few words?
Sure. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you to Mayor Chang. I appreciate that. And to thank you to the City Council and for giving me this really great honor. So I've lived in Cupertino for 25 to 30 years. I grew up on the East Coast, and I've lived here longer than I've lived anywhere else in the world. And it's really been a great place. And a few weeks ago, I got a phone call, and the caller ID said City of Cupertino. And I thought, well, do I have an unpaid parking ticket or an overdue library book? And I was hesitant to answer the call, but I'm really glad that I did, because this is really an amazing honor coming from the city of Cupertino, which is really the heart of Silicon Valley. And you can see from all the people honored here how much innovation is going on here. So it's really a great honor to me, a highlight of my life. And so again, thank you to the Cupertino City Council and to everyone involved in this. And I also want to thank my wife, Carrie, who's there. She was actually Cupertino Artist of the Year in 2012. And she supports me in every single wild, risky project that I put together. Some of them turn out well and some of them don't, but she's always there to support me. So thanks, honey.
Thank you. I live in this city for 33 years, and I have come to this country for 41 years, and I've been moving at least 25 times over the past 41 years. So, but Cupertino is the longest I have stayed. since 1985, 33 years. So with all the talent here in the city, we'll make the city great again. Thank you.
All right, great. Two treasures of the community. Wonderful. So thanks very much. You know, we wrap this up with last but not least award. It's a Lifetime Achievement Award. And we have our true freshman member of the City Council, Stephen Scharf, who was elected in the 2016 cycle, to present the award. Welcome, Councilmember Scharf.
So should we roll the video first? Go.
I really started volunteering when I had kids, so you could say my kids are to blame. I started out in the Cupertino community, and as my kids started grade school, I helped in the classroom, you know, like being the room mom, those sort of things. But I think that probably when I joined the PTA is when I started kind of volunteering more significant amounts of time. My son joined 4-H and got involved in the beekeeping project. So when they were losing their leader, my husband and I were asked, you know, will you take over leading this project? And we're like, well, we don't know anything about beekeeping, but yeah, sure, we'll try. And, you know, same thing, my son was selected as one of the delegates for the Toyokawa Sister City program, and so that's how I got involved in that organization. So, you know, back in 2006, he was a delegate, and, you know, now here I am, the president of that organization. A lot of my volunteerism has happened like that. You get involved in a program, you know, whether it's speaking at Career Day at a school or something like that, and you continue on because of the friendships that you've made. And as far as what drove me to volunteer, part of it was just doing my part. I mean, these programs don't happen unless you have volunteer power. They just don't happen. On the other side of the coin, I kind of had a selfish motive. It was just really a lot of fun. Met a lot of really great people, you know, really positive and energetic and inspiring, and, you know, I've made a lot of my really good friends through volunteering, so, you know, that's the other side of the volunteer coin. That it's not lost on me that there are so many other people that are deserving of this award. When I look back on all the friendships that I've made. I've looked back on, you know, being able to touch other people and look back on everything that volunteering has given back to me. I think that volunteering in the Cupertino community has really enriched living in Cupertino. So when I look back, I think it's really helped me appreciate my hometown, Cupertino.
So I was given this half sheet, but I was told before this event that there were actually 3 complete sheets, double-sided, of her achievements, and they wouldn't let me, they know I can talk for hours, so they wouldn't let me have all those sheets. So this is not the first lifetime achievement that Alysa has received for her volunteer work. She's received the President's Community Service Award every year since the program began under former President George W. Bush, and in 2014, former President Obama presented her with the prestigious President's Lifetime Achievement Award. And President Trump, well, we won't go into that, but fortunately, he has not given her any award. So Alysa, she's an engineer at Lockheed Martin, and in an effort to get kids involved in science, she created a program called Student Signatures in Space at Lincoln and Lawson. Now, my children were at Lawson the same time her kids were. I kind of remember her, but that was decades ago. So they signed a poster that went aboard the space shuttle, which now they can all talk about for the rest of their lives, how their signature was on the space shuttle. And as you heard in the video, she's quite humble. She doesn't seek out publicity. She doesn't ask for appreciation for her work, and that's almost the highest honor of someone that volunteers, is when they don't expect anything in return. So I'd like to, Alysa, and even now she's off volunteering in Romania, bringing medical supplies there, so she can't be here tonight, but her daughter is here tonight, and I would like to invite her to come up, and her son.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Okay, yeah, a few words from them.
All right, so unfortunately, our mother wasn't able to make it because she's in Romania volunteering for the Rotary Club. But my sister and I have been very blessed with such a hardworking mother who constantly supporting us throughout our whole life. From when we were young, our mom was always volunteering in everything that we were doing. She was volunteering at every school, every club, every sports team for both of us. And even after we graduated from the school, she was still at the school helping. And we're extremely proud of all the accomplishments and everything that she's done for everyone.
And I would like to read a short message from her. It is not lost on me that there are so many people in the community deserving of this award, so I'm truly humbled to receive it. Thank you to the City of Cupertino for this great honor. I would like to share this CREST Award with all of the great people I have volunteered with in our community. You inspire, motivate, and energize me, and I feel fortunate to have you all in my life, working together to better the community and to have you as my friends. While this award is called a Lifetime Award, our work is far from done, and I look forward to spending another lifetime working alongside you. Thank you.
All right, well, that was an exciting and very fulfilling hour of recognizing our various volunteers and people that take extra steps in our community. You'll see that a lot of the shots that were taken from the videos were from our recent volunteer fair that took place here in the Civic Center. And one of the things that I'm trying to achieve as mayor is bringing back that ethos of not so much volunteering, because we have such a rich mixture of volunteer activities in Cupertino, but certainly bringing it forth to the community and putting it forth as a value and having the kind of continuity that we see reflected in these 7 award recipients here. So hopefully that continues into the future, and we're able to bring the younger generation into the fold, as well as perhaps people that have come in from other parts of the world and are coming into our society, where a lot of the things that we do are premised upon free will, the spirit of volunteering, and being able to give of yourself and share the best parts of ourselves with the rest of the community. So I thank our entire council for coming out tonight. Thanks for helping us kick off this inaugural reimagining of the CREST Awards. And please keep doing everything that you're doing for the community. We hope to see you again next year, where we award another very excellent and deserving group of recipients. So thank you very much for this evening's recipients and honorees, and we'll bid you good evening. Thanks.